Welcome back to Shinli Tapishi and thanks for watching. In this video, I'm going to take a look at the top 10 oil producing countries in Africa. The African continent is the world's second largest continent, with its surface area covering about 20.4% of the Earth's total land area. The continent is rich in resources and mineral deposits, with petroleum being one of the most profitable resources. Africa as a continent is home to some of the world's fastest growing economies, with oil and gas contributing a large percentage of their GDPs due to the booming oil and gas industry on the continent. There are many oil producing countries in Africa, but in this video I'm going to focus on the top 10. Before we dive into the countdown, if you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of my daily uploads. Here are the top 10 oil producing countries in Africa. Number 1. Nigeria. Nigeria, also known as the Giant of Africa, is located in West Africa. It has a population of about 200 million people. Nigeria is Africa's largest oil producer and has been a member of OPEC since 1971. The Nigerian economy is heavily dependent on the oil sector, which accounts for over 95% of export earnings and about 40% of government's revenue, according to the International Monetary Fund. According to the International Energy Agency, Nigeria produces about 2.53 barrels of oil per day, well below its production capacity of over 3 million barrels in 2011. Nigeria is an important oil supplier to the United States. For the past 9 years, the United States has imported between 9 to 11% of its crude oil from Nigeria. Nigeria currently occupies the first position in Africa and the 13th position in the world when it comes to oil production. Number 2. Angola. Angola is located in south-central part of Africa. It is the 7th largest country in Africa and has a population of about 26 million people. Angola is the 2nd largest oil producing country in Africa and the 14th in the world. The oil and gas industry makes up approximately 45% of Angola's GDP. The oil industry in Angola is dominated by the upstream sector, exploration and production of offshore crude oil and natural gas. Almost 75% of oil production comes from offshore fields. Number 3. Algeria. Algeria is the largest country in both Africa and the Arab world, with a total land mass of about 2.38 million square kilometers and a population of about 42 million people. The country, which is one of the richest countries in Africa, is rich in natural resources and it's an OPEC member. Algeria has the 10th largest proven resource of natural gas in the world. The country produces about 1.3 million barrels of oil per day, thanks to hydrocarbon revenue. Algeria has a quotient of approximately $9 billion in foreign currency reserves, though the balance has fallen significantly since 2014 as a result of low oil and gas prices. In addition, Algeria's external debt is extremely low at about 2% of GDP. Algeria is still largely underexplored, and there are opportunities for foreign firms to invest in joint ventures to find new deposits. Number 4. Libya. Libya is located in the northern part of Africa and has a population of about 7.2 million people and a GDP of about $79.5 billion. It produces about 1,000 barrels of oil each day. Libya is the 4th largest oil producer in Africa. Libya is considered a highly attractive country due to its low cost of oil production, low sulfur content, and its proximity to European market. Libya's challenge is maintaining oil production and mature fields while finding developing new oil fields. Most of Libya remains underexplored as a result of past sanctions and disagreement with foreign oil companies. 80% of the country's GDP is made up of income from oil production and 97% of its export. With the largest oil reserves in Africa, the economy of Libya is predicted to continue on its growth path. Number 5. Egypt. Egypt is not only one of the richest and most developed countries in Africa, it also has one of the largest economies. It's located in the northern part of Africa and has a population of about 97 million people. Oil and gas is one of the most dynamic industries in Egypt, and hydrocarbon production is by far the single largest industrial activity in the country. The country produces about 490,000 barrels of oil per day, making it the 5th largest oil producer in Africa and the 30th in the world, with a GDP of about $280 billion. Its largest oil fields are located in the Western Desert, the Gulf of Suez, and in the Sinai Peninsula. Number 6. The Republic of Congo. The Republic of Congo is located in the central part of Africa and has a population of about 5.1 million people. It has a GDP of about $32.5 billion. The Republic of Congo is the 6th largest oil producing country in Africa and the 31st in the world. Oil production accounts for about 85% of Congo's export revenues and almost 80% of government's total revenue. Number 7. Sudan and South Sudan. Sudan and South Sudan are the 7th largest oil producing African countries and the 35th in the world, with about 255,000 barrels of oil produced per day. Most of the oil production capacity is now in South Sudan, after it gained its independence from Sudan in 2011. But it has to use Sudan's export pipelines and ports, which makes the two countries dependent on one another when it comes to the production and exportation of petrol. The unified Sudan was the 2nd largest non-OPEC oil producing country in Africa before the split in 2011. The split has led to a drastic decline in oil production for both countries. They are now ranked as the 4th largest non-OPEC African oil producer. Number 8. Equatorial Guinea. Equatorial Guinea is located in the central part of Africa and has one of the smallest populations in Africa, that is 1.2 million people. In 2017, the country became the 14th member of OPEC. A number of oil deposits are located in Equatorial Guinea, the largest of which is the Zafiro field, which has 1.2 billion barrel reserve. Equatorial Guinea produces about 227,000 barrels of oil per day, making it the 8th oil producing country in Africa and the 37th in the world. Oil and gas makes up about 85% of the country's export. Number 9. Gabon. Gabon is located in the central part of Africa and covers a total land area of about 267,000 square kilometers, with a population of about 2 million people. In July of 2016, the country joined the Organization of Petroleum Producing Countries with the intention of increasing its production capacities. The country produces about 210,000 barrels of oil per day, making it the 9th largest oil producing country in Africa and the 38th in the world. Revenue earned from oil production in Gabon constitutes 50% of GDP and 80% of the country's export basket. Number 10. Chad. Chad is located in the central part of Africa and has a population of about 13.5 million people and a GDP of about $30 billion. Approximately 110,000 barrels of oil is produced per day in Chad, making the country occupy the 10th position of the highest producers of oil in Africa and the 40th in the world. Chad was the first country to include oil transport and refinery in the scope of its EITI reporting. The main exports from Chad are oil, cattle and cotton. Thanks for watching. Kindly share this video with a friend. Tell a friend to subscribe. God loves you. Bye bye.